Hey guys, Frosty Knives here, back with another book review. And I'll be honest, I was going to review this book later, but it looks like I'm going to review it now. So, Later is the new hard case crime novel by Stephen King that was just published a few weeks ago, and I just finished reading it. So this book is, as I said, brand new. It clocks in at 248 pages. And I'm not going to go over a synopsis with you since it is so new, but what I will do is I will read the back of the book for you, or to you, so you get a little bit of an idea of what the book is about. So, sometimes growing up means facing your demons. The son of a struggling single mother, Jamie Conklin just wants an ordinary childhood. But Jamie is no ordinary child. Born with an unnatural ability, his mom urges him to keep secret. Jamie can see what no one else can see and learn what no one else can learn. But the cost of using this ability is higher than Jamie can imagine, as he discovers when an NYPD detective draws him into the pursuit of a killer who has threatened to strike from beyond the grave. Dun dun dun. So this is the third in his hard case crime novel series, I guess. The other two being The Colorado Kid and Joyland. And this is a crime novel with some supernatural elements in it. Because why not? Why wouldn't Stephen King not just write a crime novel without the boogie woogies and the supernatural in it? Just give us a crime novel, but he has to give us his own little flair. Now that may sound like I'm kind of down on the book, and I am, and I'm not. So overall, I found this to be a moderately enjoyable read. You know the drill by now. Stephen King, well written, easy to read, fast read, well fleshed out, good characters, good dialogue, yada yada. Sounds like a broken mantra, but that's all the particulars. So what I liked about the book was the crime portion of it, right? The hard crime that you get, similar to Mr. Mercedes, similar to some of his Richard Bachman stuff, that sort of, gritty, hard crime novel with a young protagonist and an NYPD detective with a little bit of a dark side and things like that. I liked the crime bit. I liked just that. What I'm still sort of wrestling with is the supernatural portion of it. I'm not going to tell you what Jamie Conklin can do, although you can probably figure out just from this what he's able to do, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. That he can do those things, I don't have a problem with that. I will say though, on the back of the main selling point, I think, and they sort of highlighted it here in the back of the book, was it says Later is Stephen King at his finest. Now that's debatable. Is this really his finest? A terrifying and touching story of innocence lost, yada yada, marketing, 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 with echoes of King's classic novel It. Later is a powerful, haunting, unforgettable tale. And I'm always suspicious when they say it has echoes of It, because people, from a marketing standpoint, if you can tie a book to It, that gives it more marketing power, right? Because it's a big thing now and has been. So you can tie a book to It, then you're doing well. This, however, this isn't just echoes of It. There is a direct connection to It in this book, ripped right out of the pages of It and placed into this book. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. But anyway, I'll tell you what I think about it. Initially, when I read it, and I got to that point in the story, and I read what the connection was, immediately I was excited, right? Because I was like, oh my God, he made this connection. And then I finished the book, and I sat with the book, and I thought about it for a little while. And the more I thought about it, the more it didn't sit well with me. And this is going to sound weird because I gave this a 5-star on Goodreads because I really did enjoy it. All things considered, I found it a good book and I really enjoyed it. But the connection to it, to me, doesn't quite fit in this novel. When you read about this thing, inside it, it makes sense. It makes sense in the context of it and what they were trying to do and what they were going for. So when you got to that point and you read about it, you go, okay, it makes sense amid the entire story of it. In later, that piece of it lore in here felt shoehorned. It didn't really feel like it should have been in there. I didn't feel that it needed to be in there. I feel that that King was maybe just sort of shoehorning that from it and kind of jamming it into later. So I didn't feel that it worked as well in this book as it worked in it. So, this is just my opinion, right? This is my opinion as a constant reader of reading King's works. You may have a different opinion, and that is completely okay. That is fine. That is what reading is. We all take things differently and form our own opinions on those things. But in my opinion, it didn't fit in here. He could have gone a different way or a couple of different ways with that, but it just felt shoehorned, and I just didn't get the same vibe from this as I did from it. And I read a couple of reviews online and videos and what other people thought of this book because I'm always curious. And I think there's a sort of a divide, or there's a lot of people who really love this book, and there's a lot of people who think that King is just rehashing old things and trying to make connections where there's no connections, or shoehorning things in instead of giving us an original novel. And in this particular instance, I do think that this bit of it lore was crammed into here. Other than that, the other big thing I think that people had problems with was the big revelation at the end. There's a big revelation about Jaime at the end of the book. And at the end of the book, I mean like literally like the last 2-3 pages. Like at the end of the book. There is a revelation about Jaime. And I think that also has sort of divided people. Some people really don't mind it. Some people think should not have been there. It was unnecessary and whatnot. I didn't mind it nor not mind it. I think that's worse. And I think that kind of apathy is worse than either loving it or hating it. To me, he gave us a bit about Jaime at the last couple pages. I think he was trying to use that information as a way to explain why Jaime was the way that he was, why he had the abilities that he had. And it didn't fall flat. It didn't do anything to me. I neither liked it nor hated it. It was just there. It was just a thing that he then presented to us at the end of the book. And I really have no opinion on it other than when you're putting things in a book, when you're writing pieces into your stories, when you're making twists and connections and all that, you have to make sure that the twists and the connections that you're making serve a purpose, that they move the story forward, or that they give you relevant information to the story that you're reading, or the characters that it's about, that it's something that's giving you more information, or it's moving the story forward, or it's bringing it around and wrapping it up in a nice way. And if the bit of information that you're putting in isn't doing any of those things, then you have to ask yourself, why is it in the book to begin with? Why did you even put it in? What he mentioned about Jaime at the end of the book, it doesn't really change the story. It doesn't move the story forward. It gives us new information on Jaime, but it doesn't really explain anything or give us a nice little bow to wrap things up. It doesn't really do anything. It just is. And if something just is in your book, then sometimes you have to take a hard look at that and ask yourself, should it even be in the book to begin with? Does it do anything? Does it detract? Does it add to the book? And if it doesn't add to the book, and definitely if it detracts from the book, then why is it still in the book? That, again, is just my opinion. I am not an editor. I am not one of those fancy schmancy editors that can, that would... But that's something that I think, you would want to question, is that, does it do anything? And if it doesn't do anything, why is it there? Again, King, with his endings, he has this, he sort of stumbles at the 1 yard line. He's like, he gets us there, and then he either doesn't go all the way or he goes too far. And I think in this book, he went too far. Like, he had an ending, but then he kept going. It's like if Stephen King was building a fence in your yard. He was building you a nice wooden fence, and he's got the last piece of the fence going up, and he's just hammering that nail in, right, to put the fence plank on. And he gets it, and he finally gets it to the point where the fence looks beautiful and is nicely and nailed in there, and everything looks gorgeous. And instead of walking away, he just takes that hammer and just one last hammer of the nail, and now your fence has a little crack in it because he hammered the nail in too far, and there's a crack right around the nail head. And you just go, Uncle Steve, why? You could have stopped right there when it was perfect, but you went just a little bit too far. Now I've got a fence with a crack on it. And sometimes that's what his books feels like. It's like you could have just pulled back a little bit, but now I've got a book or a fence with a crack in it. And now when I reread it, I'm always going to see that crack because you went a little too far. So I honestly did give this a 5 on Goodreads because overall, I really did enjoy this book. I would read it again. I'm glad I put it in my collection. I didn't feel like it was a terrible story or a bad story, and I really did enjoy it for what it was. So I think even with the criticism that I have of this, I still think it warrants a 5-star, and I'm going to stand by that. So this was a 5-star with an asterisk on it. See the footnotes about what fell flat in the book. So guys, that's my review of Later by Stephen King. And I'm going to take a break from Stephen King for a while, and I'm going to read some other things because you sort of get into this King mindset, and I would just like to just get out there and read some other stuff. So guys, if you've read it, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of the novel. If you liked it, if you hated it, and why you liked it or hated it. Give the video a thumbs up and subscribe and share it around. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, and until next time, I will see you later.